It's wild how one tiny punctuation mark or a slight grammatical twist can completely change reality.
Oh, absolutely. Like missing a comma in a contract, which can cost a company millions because two distinct rules just get mashed together.
Exactly. And today we're taking an excerpt from the April 2nd devotional, Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris. Specifically, we are looking at a teaching called The Law of Life.
Right, where a very similar grammatical mashup creates a pretty massive theological puzzle.
Okay, let's unpack this. The whole thing revolves around a widespread misunderstanding of Romans chapter 8, verse 2, specifically the phrase, the law of sin and death.
It really is fascinating how a single grammatical clarification in a text like this can entirely shift a reader's philosophical outlook. It fundamentally changes how they perceive their own mortality.
So the primary argument here is that people mistakenly treat the law of sin and death as one combined unbreakable law.
Right, which the author argues is a mistake.
Wait, if it's not one law, what is it? I mean, is it like reading a sign that says fines and towing? Fines are the rule, and towing is just the consequence of breaking it.
That's a great way to look at it.
Is the text arguing that sin is the law and death is merely the consequence?
What's fascinating here is that you've hit the exact distinction the author makes. The source argues the text should actually be understood as believers being freed from the law of sin and also from death.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, so death itself is not a law, it's the outcome. Like gravity, if you fall, breaking your leg isn't the law, it's just the consequence of gravity.
Right. But I'm still stuck on how parsing that grammar actually changes anything. I mean, if the consequence is still death, breaking them apart on paper doesn't magically solve the problem of hitting the ground, does it?
Well, it doesn't on its own, which is why the author contrasts two different chapters, Romans 7 and Romans 8.
The classic tale of two chapters.
Exactly. Chapter 7 establishes the problem. It outlines the law of sin operating in humanity before Christ, with death as the inevitable separate result.
Okay, so that's the inescapable gravity.
Yes, but chapter 8 introduces the solution by bringing in a superior law, the law of the spirit of life.
A superior law? You mean like how the law of aerodynamics can temporarily override the law of gravity so a plane can fly?
That is the exact mechanism. The argument is that this superior law of the spirit of life actively liberates the reader from the preceding law of sin.
Which I guess consequently it cancels out the effect of death. You don't hit the ground because you're no longer falling. The text is highly prescriptive here, right?
Oh, very much so.
It references John chapter 5, verse 24, stating that anyone who hears and believes has already crossed over from death into life.
Mm-hmm.
So because they are under this new law of life, they're no longer subject to the basic principles of the world. No more being subject to decadence or corruption.
And this isn't just a comforting mental shift to help you sleep at night. The text demands deeply physical action.
Wait, physical action? How so?
It instructs readers to actively refuse the language, the expectations, and the underlying fear of death entirely. Instead of just quietly hoping for the best, they are told to boldly declare that this superior law is actively working.
Working where? Exactly.
In every fiber, every blood cell, and every bone of their body.
Oh, wow. Talk about taking an abstract theological concept right down to cellular biology.
Yeah, it's intensely practical.
It seems a subtle distinction between a law and a consequence empowers a pretty profound shift. It moves the reader out of fear and into making bold bodily declarations of life.
Absolutely. And it leaves you with a really compelling question to chew on.
Let's hear it.
If reevaluating the grammar of a single sentence can entirely rewrite someone's relationship with fear and mortality, turning a terrifying consequence into something they confidently declare victory over?
Yeah.
How many other unbreakable laws in our daily lives might just be simple misunderstandings of the rules?
We trust you were blessed by this episode. To gain unlimited access to Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris, please download the Rhapsody app using the link myapp.rhapsodyofrealities.org. God bless you.